Now, going on to the political part of the podcast, you have Mike Pence saying American cities are, quote, not his concern, unquote. Which, yeah, that's, I don't know where he's thinking he's pretending to run to go become president, but considering he's Republican and he's trying to appeal to people who are more middle America, more patriotic, more, caring about what happens in our backyard versus a country across the globe no one knew about 12 minutes ago, probably not a prudent thing to say. Now, he's the presidential nominee and actually the former vice president under Donald Trump. He pissed off a lot of Republicans for, frankly, being a two-faced charlatan because he wrote a book, of course, that made Trump look bad. And he also, it's a nice way of saying, like a drone, not a drone. I'm trying to think of a nice way of describing selling out. He went on to CNN, which, in terms of politics, is kind of the antithesis of the Republican Party. CNN is the most biased news outlets you can possibly think of. Even more annoying and charlatan and two-faced when you realize they pretend to be not. They actually pretend to be fair and equal. Or no, is that Fox? Many of them you can't trust as far as you can throw them. And, considering this is the United States, they're probably obese. It'd probably be a difficult thing to throw. Now, he went on CNN. He's talking about how bad Trump was. So he immediately shot himself in the foot because the people who support Trump now will not support him. And whether people like to admit it or not, many people did support Donald Trump in the last elections. So Mike Pence successfully pissed them off, so they're not going to vote for him if somehow he does get the nominee. And this is during an interview where he was with Tucker Carlson, which this topic came up regarding support of the Ukraine. So we're going to play that little bit right here.
You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah.
Just a friendly reminder, we sent them a little bit over $100 billion in cash as well as equipment.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks.
That would be a fun social experiment and clickbait. If anyone is by a college campus or anywhere in general, just go on the street and show them a map. Be like, can you point to that country for me? Like if they have like the Ukraine pin on their lapel or they have their flag on their front lawn, which ironically the same people usually don't have American flags, but just go up to them and be like, hey, show your support. We'll donate $1 or some silly amount of money if you can point them on a map, and they'll probably sweat, or no, they'll immediately just break down into childish gibberish saying you're a Trumper or some pejorative term, which usually happens when you try to have an intellectual conversation with someone lower on the evolutionary scale.
I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that
Political suicide.
routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. I think Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad.
That sounds, if I ever heard a copy-paste response, or it's kind of a typical thing with politicians, you don't pay attention to the question, you just read the pre-scripted junk that some analyst told you to say because they'll hit the highest number of people who agree with you. He's not really addressing that question right now.
And as president of the United States, we're going to restore law and order in our cities. We're going to secure our border. We're going to get this economy moving again. And we're going to make sure that we have men and women on our courts at every level that will stand for the right to life and defend all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution. Anybody that says that we can't be the leader of the free world and solve our problems at home has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth. We can do both.
Emotional rhetoric out the wazoo, which every politician does to one extent or another. And he's trying to say that we can do it all, which is a great emotional, rhetorical thing to say, but also not very logical since everyone has finite resources, whether it's literally dollars in your wallet, your time in the day, the U.S. deficit someday will break us. I think it's $31 trillion in debt. Time shows out to see that throws a monkey wrench in everything, but he didn't even address the main issue of Tucker saying, hey, you're giving this other country, we're giving them all these resources. What are you doing locally? Now, again, I'm not a political analyst, or I'm not a political guru or a politician by any means necessary. I have more than 3 brain cells. But it's one of those instances where Pence probably should have said something of probably addressing the main issue of, oh yeah, we're sending Ukraine tanks, all these things. U.S. also said when Russia was rumored that they were using cluster bombs against Ukraine, U.S. hinted that it would be a war crime, and if we confirmed it, we'd do something a little bit. We would, increase our efforts or increase our force against Russia. And just a couple of days ago, Biden just signed off on sending cluster bombs to Ukraine to use against the Russians and subsequently to civilians, because cluster bombs, by its very nature, are indiscriminate. So I don't know what Mike Pence is thinking. His odds of becoming the odds of him getting the nominee are pretty damn slim. And I don't see how this increases those odds by any means necessary. And maybe he's going to try to come back from this in a day or two, or come out with a statement or something. But time shall tell to see what goes on from here. But yeah, I would say the outlook on the Magic 8 Ball for Mike Pence is outlook not so good. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of July, so if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment. Your feedback is also greatly appreciated. It's how we make the show better and better. Also, and lastly, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.